We have cold air advancing east. We're going to turn things really warm in the west. And then we're also taking a look at an increasing severe weather threat across the Florida Peninsula. Thanks so much for being here, guys. I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kagan. So we're going to talk about all three of those things. First, the severe weather, and then the cold. But I wanted to start this off with the scope of this late season push of really cold air. This is the Climate Prediction Center forecast over the next 6 to 10 days, and you see the bullseye here, right into parts of the deep south Mississippi River Valley, but that cold really extending from the Rockies to the east, including most of the Florida Peninsula, into the Northeast, into the Mid-Atlantic, and then certainly the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Now, big time warm up coming in the west. This is what we wanted to avoid, at least crazy warmer than normal temperatures, because of course, the snowpack that we have been able to accumulate across the season. We do not want that all melting at once. Again, we are going to get all into that. Hey, before we go forward, if you want to stay updated this hurricane season, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that right now. If you're interested in the weather, if you like these videos and find them informative, please give them a thumbs up. That really does help me out a lot. All right, the severe weather threat for Monday, April 24th, increasing a little bit. Now a level 2 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. This is going to be about from Fort Lauderdale towards Melbourne, Florida, just south of Kissimmee, St. Cloud. That is where we're going to see the main severe weather threat. Still a low-grade opportunity through the Orlando area up to about Daytona Beach as well. That's that 1 out of 5. The main risks with these storms that get going later Monday afternoon and into Monday evening are going to be damaging wind and hail. This is where we have the damaging wind threat, and you see that yellow there representing the higher probabilities from about Fort Lauderdale to, again, around Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Orlando, not out of the woods when you're talking about that. Same for us in and around Daytona Beach, but the main threat is south. Want to show you that hail update. And again, not much has changed there from the drawing that you saw, but this is, again, where we're looking for the main hail threat. And you get the picture. If you're familiar with the Orlando area, that's mainly going to be south and then closer to Fort Lauderdale, Lake Okeechobee. So again, just be weather aware for this. And there's the tornado risk. Again, the low end risk is there. It's not entirely zero, but we are not in an environment where we're looking at the potential for tornadoes. Before we get into the temperatures, I do want to show you the high resolution future radar. If you're interested in the temperatures and don't want to sit through the radar picture here or the future radar, click the time code in the description. Those chapters will get you to what you are looking for. Here's the deal. This is about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, pushing commute time home. We do have a few scattered thunderstorms really starting to get going. Watch what happens, though, as we move deeper into the afternoon. This is going to be, that is 8 o'clock, so into that 6 to 7 o'clock time frame. Really, we'll call it from about 5 to 8. That is going to be your main severe weather risk through Central and South Florida. A couple of beefy guys down here towards Fort Lauderdale, also towards parts of the Upper Keys and extreme South Florida, south of the Everglades. Nonetheless, that's what we're going to be watching out for. Taking you a little bit further into the future here, most of this is out of here by 10, 11 o'clock, other than just a few stray showers. I do want to point out, and this is going to be a focus of some future videos as we are transitioning to an El Nino, it is really active across this part of the country over the next week or so. And I think that those are some of the early signs here that the atmosphere is trying to change from its La Nina pattern into an El Nino. Again, that's better news for hurricane season, but that is a story for another time. If you do want to know my thoughts on the upcoming hurricane season, you can click that little link that's going to pop up there. That will take you to that. I'll also put it in the description. All right, enough of me rambling now. Let's get to the temperature focus of this video here. We're going to start on Tuesday morning, and we have a bunch of freeze watches and freeze warnings in play way out here. Where this kind of red line is, where I'm drawing on the telestration here, that is where the freezing mark is. So everywhere above that is going to be below freezing. And you see that where the blue colors is. So we're talking below freezing temperatures, even teens towards northern Minnesota into the Iron Range. Freezing mark around Pittsburgh, doing okay in Florida, upper 60s. But you see where that's the scope of the chill is. We're talking upper 30s and lower 40s in Atlanta on Tuesday morning, low to mid 40s in New York City, upper 30s. Mid to upper 30s towards upstate New York and New England. Meanwhile, we have some warmth surging. Speaking of that warmth, here it is. And again, we don't want to have that crazy Sierra snowpack melt all at once. Again, we need to do that nice and gentle, or else we're going to have some big time flooding problems. But you see that they're near 80 degrees in the lower elevations. Again, Southern California, even pushing 90s in parts of southern Arizona as well. So we are really bringing the heat really from West Texas all the way to the desert Southwest. We're going to watch that snowpack very, very carefully. Look at this, though. Back to the north. I'm jumping all over the place. Stop me if I'm going crazy. While you're doing that, post in the comments where you're watching from. I would love to know. Look at this. Highs in the 40s on Tuesday from New York City. Might be able to sneak into the 50s in New York City, but Detroit, upper 40s. This is crazy town. Again, this is the pattern that we were trying to get in winter, where you have the warmth building out west and the cold in the east. That jet stream pattern like that, and that's how you get those nice big storms to develop on the coast. So my snow lovers in the east, it's a month or 2 or 3 months too late there. All right, one more shot for you here. This is going to be on Wednesday morning. That core of the cold already trying to retreat back into Canada, but still on Wednesday morning, you're looking at the 26th now. Places like Toronto around the freezing mark. We're talking about Minnesota still being in the teens and 20s, the 40s towards Roanoke, Virginia, 30s still in Pittsburgh. Now we're falling into the 40s in New York City. Meanwhile, it's super, super warm California. Some of that chill kind of returning into the Rockies towards Casper, Wyoming, Jackson Hole as well, Boise, Idaho in the 30s and 40s, Reno, Nevada, Elko, Nevada, I should say, wrong side of the state. Nonetheless, we are in right around the freezing mark as well. So cold is going to be the name of the game here for really a lot of the eastern 2/3 of the country. Look at that. Again, this is the 6 to 10 day outlook all the way through May 3rd. And more often than not, we're talking about way below normal temperatures from the Rockies and east. Meanwhile, Pacific Northwest through the desert Southwest, we're talking about above normal temperatures. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, hurricane season right around the corner. We are going to have you covered, whether you live in the Caribbean, whether you live in the United States or beyond. We've got you covered. If you are interested in that, learning more about tropical meteorology, tracking the tropics with us, please hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you in this growing weather community. We have a lot of fun here. Also, I mentioned this before, but I would love to know what the weather is doing where you are watching from. Please post that in the comments, and we will catch you next time.